So over the next 20 minutes, I guess I would like to really build on the themes of the previous speakers this morning and offer a client perspective on what marketing effectiveness means as we really try to build a culture of it at Diageo. And I'll do this through the lens of work we're currently undertaking to really deeply ingrain this performance mentality into our marketing. So my hope is that this can stimulate with my fellow speakers today and the sessions we're having a different way of thinking about marketing investment and performance more widely across our industry. One that is grounded in why our industry exists in the first place. So by way of brief introduction, I run Diageo's global marketing effectiveness team, a role I very much enjoy, and which gives me the opportunity to work with our fantastic marketing teams across the world. I'm the first person at Diageo to hold this role, reflecting, in line with many other companies, how much of a priority this area has become in recent years. I do not have what would probably be considered the traditional CV of a marketing director. My degree is in physics, a business background in corporate strategy, and before that, management consultancy, specializing in areas such as revenue management analytics. But 18 months ago, I was asked by our Chief Marketing Officer to bring the same principles of objectivity, logic, and analytical rigor into our marketing as I was applying in these previous roles. I stand here today very much as a marketer, but also able to still offer an outside perspective on how we do marketing and where I think we can do it better. I certainly do not claim to have all the answers, but I would like to share how we looked at this challenge in a way that I think is probably applicable to many other corporations out there. There are three prerequisites which I contend a business needs to really understand before it can start to seriously build marketing effectiveness principles into all its investment decisions. Firstly, absolute clarity on the business purpose of marketing. Second, real clarity on the key decisions about marketing investment which deliver that business objective. And third, a deep understanding of how those decisions get made in your organization so that you can look to improve them. It's when we examine each of these that I think we get under the skin of how we really can make better investment decisions with our marketing money. So let's take the first one. What is the business purpose of marketing? And to me, this one should be easy. Marketing exists to create demand for your company's product. Full stop. It might be demand this week, it might be next month, it might be 3 years from now, or even longer. But at some point, any marketing investment must create demand. Otherwise, it is simply a waste of money. And to create this demand, we have to deeply understand our customers and our consumers, just as my fellow speakers this morning have highlighted. And this is not always a popular message. You know, some people can feel this threatens creativity, or that it will make a particular channel they specialize in look bad, or that looking at sales automatically equals short-termism. I would contend that the opposite is true. I've lost count of the number of times I've heard an activity described as only being about equity building for the very, very long term, or great excitement about some astronomical number of impressions achieved on an individual activity. And I think for me, these statements are meaningless when taken in isolation. Equity, impressions, these are very important metrics for us to be looking at as part of a bigger system. But they are not the end in and of themselves. At Diageo, many of our most famous brands have their origins in the 18th, 19th centuries. Now that is positively ancient in the world of packaged consumer goods. We are very much a long-term company with a long-term perspective on how we invest in creativity and grow our brands through telling fantastic stories. But our ultimate measure of success has to be whether more customers, more consumers are choosing to buy our brands, both today and tomorrow, as a result of our marketing. We would do ourselves no favors by pretending otherwise. In today's world, I think one of the biggest barriers facing corporations like ours to delivering more value from our marketing investment is the sheer plethora of choices that we have available, muddying the waters when it comes to clarity on what we're trying to achieve from our marketing. Whether this is the arm wrestle between digital versus traditional media, between above versus below the line activities, between creative versus media agencies, between the shiny new thing versus the tried and tested. I have a keen eye for vested interests, and I've seen many of them at work in the marketing industry. In an age where data and analytics risks becoming a cliche, we hear it so often, these interests most often manifest as a proliferation of spurious metrics and so-called KPIs, being applied inappropriately, as we've seen from many of our other speakers this morning, to justify investments. Our objective remains, just as it always has been, to create demand today and tomorrow when we invest in marketing. So let's turn to the second area we need to understand. Who makes the decisions that will deliver our business objective, and when in the business cycle do they do it? This is critical to understand for your company, because ultimately, the performance outcome from a given marketing program is entirely based on what we choose to invest in. Once the investment is committed, our capacity to materially shift the sales outcome is usually quite limited. Yes, many of our digital channels enable much greater in-flight optimization than ever before, but this is missing the bigger picture. I have complete confidence that if, say, we invested £100,000 to advertise Smirnoff on Facebook next month, the highly capable team at Facebook, our media agency, and our own marketers will be able to use the tools at their disposal to spend that money in the best way possible for the objective they're trying to achieve. But why is £100,000 the right amount in the first place? Who decided that? Surely it's in Facebook's interest to make that number as high as possible. And incidentally, I am not picking on those of you from Facebook here. The same could be said of any marketing channel. But what this reveals is that there is a hierarchy of decisions that are made in a corporation on how marketing investment is allocated. All these decisions are not equal, and all decisions are not made by the same people. You have to be able to separate the strategic from the tactical, from the operational. These different sets of decisions together are the primary driver of the performance outcomes of a marketing program. And yes, creativity is a key part of those decisions. But to build a marketing effectiveness culture, we have to understand, influence, and improve all of them. Which leads me on to the third area. How are these investment decisions being made? The need for a deep understanding of how these marketing investment decisions are made starts to get far more specific to each individual company. And from here on in, I'll share a little bit of what we have been doing at Diageo to build our marketing effectiveness culture by improving this decision-making. Our objective was to build a genuinely sustainable marketing effectiveness culture. We wanted to use data and analytics to ensure that every pound, dollar, and rupee that we were investing in marketing around the world, nearly 2 billion of them in total, was consistently being spent in the best way possible. This was the beginning for us of what came to be known as our Marketing Catalyst program, the centerpiece of which is some fairly cutting-edge software. But to only look at the software in isolation is to miss the bigger picture. We started by being very clear on the change we were trying to make and developed software to fit around that, not the other way around. From our objective, a specific list of necessities came apparent, very much in keeping with what we've just heard about when we talk about effectiveness culture. First, and most importantly for us, the capability we sought had to sit with the decision maker in any given situation. We had to move away from a model of routine questions being asked of small specialist internal teams or external agencies. They're too expensive to be scalable or sustainable across the world. Something I suspect a few of you on the agency side of things occasionally hear from your clients. Second, we are very clear that we needed a consistent set of performance metrics that could be measured and applied to any kind of marketing execution anywhere in the world, in effect to become our language of marketing performance, taking into account short and long term. This new analytical approach that we were going to apply had to dovetail seamlessly into existing business decision-making processes if it was going to have any chance of succeeding. What we were going to implement had to be, for a company like Diageo, applicable to marketing in both the least and most developed markets in the world, without resorting to lowest common denominator approach, which is often the danger. There have to be clear, positive incentives for your marketers, business partners working with them, to apply this new approach in the day-to-day job. And finally, I don't think it can be overstated the importance of having complete and unequivocal buy-in from the senior leadership of the company from the outset. Marketing, finance, sales, everyone on the same page. For us, the scope of what we were aiming to change here was huge. When I talk about marketing investment decisions for Diageo, they will range from deciding the strategic overall marketing budget for India versus the UK versus Brazil at our global executive committee level, right down to deciding, of course, the week-by-week TV and social media activity plan for Tusker Beer in Kenya, the job of a mid-level brand manager. That is a huge range. So for several years, we had already been using econometric analysis, marketing mix modeling, to measure performance outcomes from our marketing, particularly media. But we had some challenges with the way of working. Whilst we were already using econometrics in some markets, it wasn't cost-effective to scale up more widely, as a large amount of agency labor is often involved at the back end in basic data processing, and consultancy when the results come through. Another challenge that we had was the culture that this existing way of working with these modeling agencies created. Too few of our marketers actually really understood what it was they were seeing when they got analytical results, or the levers they could pull day to day to influence them. Short-term and long-term were not being defined clearly and consistently enough. At this point, we started to gravitate towards the potential for a software-centric solution to our challenge. Crucially, we were interested in software that was designed to be used directly by the key recommenders and decision makers in the business, not PhD statisticians. For Diageo, going down the route of a software-based solution to building marketing effectiveness capability was all about two things: sustainability and scalability. We had zero interest in consulting projects that would end up in someone's desk drawer, and zero interest in something that would be brilliant in one market, but then cost millions to adapt to another. It's just not how our company operates. And this is when we started to talk seriously with key business partners about developing Marketing Catalyst and the kind of capabilities we were after. Where we have landed has ended up being a true partnership between our main software developer, our key modeling partner agencies, and our main media agency. Over time, the capability we have developed together has the capacity to be expanded to almost all of our agencies involved supporting our marketing planning decisions. I'm going to share a short video now that gives a brief overview of what we've developed together.
To grow our brands in today's complex world, marketeers need every advantage in making the best choices in where to invest across our portfolio and how to win with consumers with every activity. In a world where every pound and penny counts, Marketing Catalyst is a breakthrough. There are two distinct ways that we can grow our business faster using marketing. We can move money from lower to higher performing brands, or we can improve the return on investment we achieve from individual brands' marketing program by choosing a better mix of activities and planning more optimal media. Using millions of data points, Marketing Catalyst enables us to make decisions across all brands and markets using a common currency. Marketing Catalyst is comprised of two complementary tools which support these distinct decision-making processes: the Strategic Allocation module and the Growth Driver module. Let's look at each in turn. Firstly, the Strategic module helps our in-market leadership team make more polarized, data-driven choices about where to invest across their portfolio to grow. Imagine we can do this across all brands in the country, or across the whole company to understand where to increase funding profitably for the long and short term, and where we can sensibly source it from. Once we've placed our strategic bets, Marketing Catalyst is at the fingertips of each and every brand and marketing manager. The Growth Driver module makes it easy for them to make the best choices of which growth drivers, activities, and phasing will deliver the best performance outcomes. Using understanding of consumer responses, seasonality, and changing media costs during the year, it forecasts the impact of different scenarios over the course of the next 12 months. Instead of days of manual offline work, confined to large brands in developed markets, we can now model the commercial impact of our marketing plans in minutes, anywhere in the world. No more spreadsheets flying back and forth. Catalyst puts leading-edge analytics in everyone's hands to enable us to be more responsive as the environment changes. We have the best marketeers working on the best brands. Catalyst helps combine their flair and commercial savvy with a deep performance focus springing from a scientific approach to testing, measuring, learning, and adapting.
So this system is now being used across Diageo globally to drive a real change in how we do business and a real measurable performance uplift from our marketing. Developing and launching this software over the last 18 months has taken Herculean efforts from both the Diageo marketing effectiveness teams around the world and our key agency partners. Efforts that have been worth it for the end result. Every person seeing it for the first time has not failed to be impressed by how impactful and how easy to use it is. Sat around the software, Diageo has invested in a major global training program for all executives, marketers, and marketing business partners, such as finance. These intensive face-to-face training courses aren't just about teaching people how to use the new toy, but about deeply understanding the principles behind better marketing investment and getting a hands-on chance to practice applying the theory. We don't just train our own marketers, but also our marketing agencies, so that everyone is well-versed in the common performance metrics and language we now use, and what we can all do to drive them. And the final piece of the puzzle has been to put in place, for the first time, financial targets linked to marketing performance, both short and long term. Targets made possible by the existence of marketing catalysts. And marketers' individual incentives now require them to demonstrate the short and long-term returns they are generating. It is measured consistently for everyone, everywhere. No more cherry-picking of KPIs. The easiest way to deliver against this metric is, of course, to take advantage of the new capability we have developed in the business. So, what has been the result of all this effort? Well, we are just 18 months into this journey, which may be approaching the definition of long-term for some in the finance world, but in marketing 200-year-old spirits brands is the blink of an eye. Nevertheless, I can stand here today and point to some really amazing achievements that this new approach to marketing investment has created in our company. In terms of pure financials, the program is substantially over-delivering its business case. Key aspects of the technology that we've had to develop and that help drive such strong uptake are very much world first. Levels of positive engagement from our marketing community, really important for us, in the places where this Catalyst system launches are off the charts. People are genuinely excited to have such easy-to-use, cutting-edge capability in their hands and feel empowered to apply it in their jobs. In just 1 year, this system has become our official way of doing marketing business planning. So it's getting embedded in a way that is sustainable from the outset. As of today, we have well over 500 active users at Diageo, and this will more than double in the next 5 months to cover our entire global business. Thanks to the flexibility of the software, we're currently launching this system with the training that goes with it at a rate of about 1 per week into new countries. These countries are completely different markets, different levels of economic development, different data sophistication, and it is working everywhere. This is the scalability we set out to achieve right at the start. So this is just one example of one corporation trying to put in place a rigorous marketing effectiveness culture. There are no doubt many other ways to solve these challenges that I'm sure will come out of the many discussions today. But I think the secret to success, no matter how you look at it, must involve being really clear on the outcome you're trying to achieve at the outset, and a laser-focused desire to bring objectivity into the performance measurement and investment process. In this latter area, I would call out both the econometric modeling agencies and media agencies that we continue to work closely with as providing a particularly valuable role in bringing that objective point of view. A new channel does not equal an effective channel. A long-established channel has no intrinsic right to the future. We should invest where we deliver performance, and we should be defining performance consistently across as much of our investment base as possible if we are serious about making better decisions for the short and long term. Software and technology can be great enablers in building effectiveness culture, particularly in larger businesses, but they are only one part of a bigger system. That system has to be designed around the role of the brand owner, understand how they work with their agencies, and ultimately create a positive reason to deliver more effective marketing. Thank you for your time. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Adam. Just one very quick question from me that was really provoked by that fascinating presentation. And that is, you talk about sort of creating metrics that work across all your global brands, but surely, you know, sort of what works in India is very different to what works in China. So is there a risk that they become sort of too general, not specific enough?
So for us, it's not about eliminating very nuanced market-specific metrics, but it's about having a very clear core set of performance metrics, which actually we have tried to think a lot about, well, what is going to be consistent everywhere? And I do believe, actually, yes, you can get it down to a core, relatively simple set of metrics that are applicable in many markets, supported by those very channel-specific, market-specific operational metrics. And whilst absolutely we will be interested and we do monitor those very closely, they always have to be side by side with the core set of metrics that we know are the kind of our North Star, our compass, really, keeping us honest.
Very good. Okay, thanks, Adam. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.